Hey there, Julia here, and this is actually a video that I was not expecting to make. If you saw my 2025 ink journal setup, then you know how excited I was for my new ink journal and everything that went into that. However, if you saw my latest currently inked video for January 2025, then you also saw that
What in the actual
I received a planner with some defective Tomoe River paper in it. And that resulted in just very unusable, just unacceptable feathering, bleeding, and even more ghosting than I think is typical. So before that currently inked video even got published and put up on the channel, I mentioned this in my Instagram stories. And from there, I just got tons of messages with photos and videos and just people ranting about their disappointment with the latest batch of Tomoe River paper. And I empathize with them completely and just felt like not alone in the frustration. So from there, I spent an entire day redoing my 2025 ink journal in a new notebook. And I am just sharing that new notebook and that new ink journal setup today. In this whole thing, I really just feel bad for the small businesses and boutique planner companies that will for sure get lots of complaints, and it's kind of not their fault because the issue with the paper is just so inconsistent that when they received prototypes, I'm sure that it was a mixed bag. And even in the ink journal that I have, it's a mixed bag. Some pages are fine, some are not. Some sections of a page are fine, others are not. So alongside that, I also just feel bad for new users as well of fountain pens paired up with Tomoe River paper because they are getting an experience that isn't true. It's just a subpar experience. So yeah, I just think too many people, both businesses and the planner community, the fountain pen community, depend on Tomoe River paper for this type of quality control issue. So that's my rant. Let's look at my 2025 ink journal redo. Okay, we are in the same cover because the cover was working just fine. And a new feature that I figured out was that I can take this little piece out, which is very helpful for taking photos and just if I don't need it in the way, like now. So we open it up and I don't love the cover just right off the bat, but this is what I had on me. This is the only other A5 fountain pen friendly paper notebook that I had, and I had just ordered it just a few days before Christmas. So it's actually really lucky that I had it, and at the time I didn't know what I was going to do with it. So this is by Odyssey Notebooks, which I have used them before. Like, this is my reading journal. I've used their notebooks before, usually the 160 GSM paper, but I also have a couple of their Tomoe River paper notebooks as well. They typically use the thicker paper, the 68 GSM, if I remember correctly. But this one has one of my favorite papers in it, Cosmo Air Light. And I actually purchased this because Cosmo Air Light is in the process of getting discontinued, and I really love this paper. It's what I've been using on my Instagram for the ink vent reels this past December, as well as just some of my pen and ink matches that I do on Instagram as well. So we have this cover, don't love it, but I did move over the sticker that I do love and put it in the same spot here. Opening up, I do love this intro little inside cover decoration here. I try to keep it really similar to the old ink journal design-wise because I really liked this. I love this. So I wanted to keep that same feeling. As you can see, the paper does look really cream here, but the actual paper of the notebook is a little more white than this. So we open up here and I cut out the stickers from the original ink journal that I had already placed in there and just pasted them over here. Added a few new ones just for memory's sake. I have the thumbnail for the currently inked where it all went wrong. So I have that here, and then a couple of new ink swatches from Wearingle. Flipping over. So this is not a planner. This is like a straight up dot grid notebook. So everything that I had in this ink journal, I wanted to duplicate mostly in the new one. So I have my future log here. The plan is to write in the pin shows up here with a dot with the ones that I plan on going to, and then maybe down in this bottom section, write in any sales that happen, any releases, just so I can get an overview of the pen and ink hobby just at a glance. I thought that would be really fun. Here is the rest of the year. Like, this is an example. The Sailor Don't Miss the Boat sale always happens in September. And then this page does look a little different from what it looked like in here. So this was going to be a tracker of pen purchases and pens sold, and then the stats, and then things that were gifted and traded. And I just decided to instead do a 2025 stats page, just recording what my collection looks like at the start of the year, at the end of the year, and what that net looks like. And then just have totals of what was purchased, what was sold, and what was gifted. This page also looks the same as the old one here. I have the goals and intentions, which I just moved over verbatim. The wish list here, I did add a couple of things. So I did get the Pilot MYU, and then I added in a Sailor King of Pen and the Mont Blanc 149. And then this loves section will end up just being releases over the year that I really love. Not necessarily need to purchase, but just things that I thought were cool. Okay, and this is where I deviate, I think, the most. In the original planner, all of the monthly calendars were grouped together like this, and then it went into the blank pages. Here, I am doing it all chronologically. So yes, I will have to make a calendar every month, but she's a bullet journaler at heart, and so it's not a big thing. So I have the January calendar, and I plan to just mark when I purchase things, when I ink pens, uninked pens, when I do the mid-month check-in, that type of thing here. And then I also have my long-termed ink pens over here. If you saw my January currently inked, then you know I have a blue, a black, and a flex pen that's gonna stay long-termed ink right now. And then we flip over, and here is the redo of January currently inked. I did smudge a little bit right here. That's totally on me. But as you can see, everything is popping. I even pasted this in, and this was just me trying to figure out what inks I wanted to ink up for January, and I just thought it would be fun to throw some larger swatches on there. I'll show you a comparison. So yeah, you can see how just feathery and flat these colors look next to the new one, like especially this top scribo. Super flat there. So I'm just looking forward to working on paper that I love, paper that's behaving the way it's supposed to, but I do still feel a little heartbroken about the Tomoe River paper. And then why not? Let's just keep flipping, and I'll show you what I have in here so far. So this went up on Instagram, and this is just a new Ferris wheel press ink that came out, this Bluebell brush strokes, and it was paired with a dabbler pen. Let me see if I have that. Yes, this dabbler pen, which you can kind of fill this up with fountain pen ink. I have a little short on this, but this came with this 3 Steamboats ink. And so I just had a little fun making a fun little gradient there, and then I just pasted in the photo that I put on Instagram and just notated the pen that I paired with it. And then I decided to just start doing my pen and ink matches in here as well. Usually I do them on a separate piece of Cosmo Airlight paper, but since I have lots of pages and I love looking at these, I just decided to go ahead and do them in this journal. And yes, very nerdy, I made stickers of the pen that I paired with the inks. And so maybe every month there will be a select few of the currently inked pens that I have, like this little ink matching menu to look at as well. So yeah, as you can see, look at this ghosting, bleeding versus like in this notebook. Granted, this paper is a little thicker, but still, you should not be getting this type of show through on the other side. Look at that. Hardly anything. Yeah, here's the example. January currently inked. You get a little bit of show through here versus this. Like, it's crazy. So yeah, as much excitement as I had for this notebook, I think I'm even more excited for the new ink journal. If you're curious about these tabs, I got them a couple of Christmases ago. They're by St. Violet. If I find them, I'll put them in the description for you. But that's where I am with the ink journal. The old one, I probably will hack up, cut, possibly, or just use it to plan content. Not quite sure yet, but it's here. Thanks for the kind words about the ink journal setup, this initial setup. I love sharing and throwing some inspiration and ideas your way. Let me know your thoughts and experiences with this year's Tomoe River Paper in the comments. I'm just so curious about how this is going to shake out, especially once people start really getting into their 2025 planners. What are shops gonna do for 2026? I feel like we're in this little bit of a paper drought when it comes to fountain pen friendly stuff. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for watching. I'll catch you all in the next one.